Coming to you today from the third floor of the Rhode Island State Capitol. My name is Dave Barber for Capitol Television, in a segment we simply call Capitol Spotlight. We like to visit with a member of the General Assembly and catch them before they go into session to discuss some of the things they've been working on. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome back a woman we've had the good fortune to interview many times, the Honorable State Representative Joy Hearn. Representative, it's great to see you.
Great to be here with you, Dave, and thanks for asking me on.
And I know it's a busy time because we're running into the home stretch, but let's talk about a couple of things that you're concerned about. One centers around giving kindergartners the opportunity to go to school full-time, a full day of class. How did that come about, and where does the legislation currently stand?
This is a piece of legislation that is being introduced in both the Senate and the House, and it came about on the House side, in particular, my interest in education and getting good quality education to our youngsters in Rhode Island. I feel that the current model of 2.5 hours of kindergarten instruction is really too little in this day and age. We have strong pre-K education going on, and we've invested money there, and we want to make sure that the kids are kept ramped up as they enter, first grade. So this is an incentive program that would get 4 schools to jump on board with full-day kindergarten.
So it would start with just 4 schools?
It would be 4 schools and then another 4 schools the next year.
Yeah, I would think too, with the Race to the Top money that was just garnered by our state, some of which is being earmarked for pre-K instruction, this would be a nice dovetail from that. This seems like that would be a pretty good fit.
It is a good fit, and it's one of the reasons that, it seemed perfect time to introduce this legislation, because the preschool education piece with Race to the Top is really huge, and we want to just keep that momentum going.
The other thing is that I'd like you to touch on, and I've been asking about this for some time, what's up lately in and around Providence particularly, and in other parts of the state too for that matter, violence with these nightclubs on the weekends. It seems like every weekend when I'm watching the early morning news, there's been some sort of violence, some kind of fight, a stabbing, a shooting. It seems to be getting out of control. You have some legislation that you think will help deal with that problem.
Yes, Dave. Rhode Island currently is the only state in New England that allows under 21-year-olds to go into clubs that serve alcohol. It just opens a huge window of problems. I believe that those under 21 really don't need to mix their fun with liquor. And so we've become a destination, a party destination for under 21-year-olds who want to be in clubs that serve liquor.
Not to mention that you could have a problem with underage kids drinking, maybe their friends passing them liquor or them sneaking liquor in. But there does seem to be this issue with violence. Now, how would you differentiate a nightclub from like another restaurant that happens to serve liquor? I mean, how do you make that distinction?
Well, we've looked at amending the legislation to exclude live music venues. So there's ways to work the legislation around specific issues, such as restaurants serving food wouldn't be a problem. It's really to address this late night busing of kids from outside of our area that are just really bringing trouble into town, and it doesn't really mix.
Well, and again, there just seems to be a rash of this problem, and again, I'm not one of those people in those nightclubs at 1 o'clock in the morning on the weekend, but again, all you have to do is tune to any news station, and again, you see this type of thing going on, and something's going to have to be done. Where does your legislation stand right now that deals with this?
It was heard last week in House Judiciary, so it's been held for further study, and I'm hoping that the pressures of a lot of public support on this issue will be successful in addressing it.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for taking time out of what is a very busy schedule. I know you have to head to session now, but thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. It's always a pleasure having you. My best to you and your colleagues in the House.
And back to you, Dave. Thank you very much for having me on.
And thank you so much for tuning in to Capitol Spotlight from the third floor of the Rhode Island State Capitol. I'm Dave Barber.